Okay, I am in my little library, which is a small hallway that I have in my studio apartment, my attic apartment. But this serves as my Mathew Franklin Whittier library. Over here, I have my antiquarian books, which I can't tilt this, of course, you can't see. And here I have the loose pieces, which are newspapers and some bound volumes. And in the top drawer here, I have all the little idiosyncratic loose treasures that have to do with Mathew, and I thought I'd show a couple of them to you. Some of the ones that Mathew directly held in his hands. This is a letter. It's written in, Mathew wrote this in his own hand, but it's not actually his letter. He wrote it for his friend and sometime employer, Nathan Winslow. Nathan Winslow's grave is about a 5-minute drive from here. I was there not too many days ago and found it. This letter was written on the occasion of the two of them wanting to go in together on a building. There was a new street that was going to be built here in Portland. It wasn't definite yet. Commercial street running along the waterway, which was in fact built. They were thinking of buying a building on this road. And so Mathew, who had excellent handwriting, would sometimes write for other people. So this is Portland, March 22nd, 1850. And it so happens that his name is in here. He's mentioned, so we have the equivalent of his signature in here. And I don't want to tear this because I'm nervous in front of the camera. There we go. Right down here is M.F. Whittier, so we can compare that. If you can, I probably can't see it. You can compare that with his signature. I do get a little juice off of this, more than the other letter I showed in my previous video. For some reason, this one, I get an emotional feeling out of it. I don't know why. It's a business letter, you know. Yours of the 16th came duly to hand, and I was pleased to learn that you had instructed your agent to vote in favor of the contemplated street, and so on, which is Commercial Street. It would be of historical interest to people here in Portland. And I don't know why, I can feel it. Holding this, I can feel it. And I can't tell you what I feel. There's a profundity. You know, there's just there's like an undercurrent, like a buzz underneath in my subconscious mind when I hold this. It's like yeah, I feel it, you know, but I can't be more specific. Now, this is the other thing I wanted to show you, which might be of some interest. This is an album. Now, I'm going to take it out. It's very fragile. The thing is falling apart. An album was like, like a Facebook page, you know, or like a cast that a kid gets that all his classmates sign on. Well, when you had an album, your friends and family would sign in it, but they wouldn't just sign. They would put poetry in there. The poetry might be something they composed. More often it was something that they borrowed from some source or other. And here, I don't know if you can see, it's gold embossed. This, I think, was a pretty expensive one. And there's a girl strewing flowers out of a basket, which is kind of an odd image. But Mathew's in here. Apparently, this was a classmate, because he says that somewhere. I forget where that is, but apparently this was one of his classmates from when he was a boy, which would mean that that was in the one-room schoolhouse that John Greenleaf Whittier also attended. And the entry by Mathew is so faint that I'm going to cheat and read it from a printed copy. What he copied from was a poem by E.H. Chapin, who I've got his picture here, and I felt he was very familiar, and he was. But he was a mystic like Mathew. I don't know what, I forget, I think he was a Unitarian, if I remember correctly. And as soon as I find the right page here, I will read you the poem. He left out one stanza, and I don't know why he left out one stanza. I think he ran out of room or he forgot it, probably was going by memory. But it's deeply spiritual. And Mathew, aside from being, I'm hoping this is still running, yeah, it powered down. Aside from being an activist, he was deeply spiritual and a mystic, which he got. I mean, he was spiritual before he met Abby, but she really taught him mysticism. So this is after her passing. In 1850, Mathew was traveling around the New England states, mostly by rail, but some by stagecoach. And he was writing a travelogue for the Boston Weekly Museum under the name Quails. If you look that up, you'll find that it's attributed by scholars to Osh and Dodge. I proved that it was definitely Mathew and not Osh and Dodge. That was a scam. It was literally a conspiracy theory between Dodge and the editor, which Mathew played along with to keep his cover. It's a long story as to what he was doing in the Boston Museum. He was doing anti-slavery work and reporting it in this seemingly innocuous travelogue, and he allowed Osh and Dodge to take the credit to keep his cover deeper. So this is the poem that he borrowed or copied from E.H. Chapin. He didn't sign it as E.H. Chapin, but he wasn't claiming it for himself. It was just standard operating procedure back then to borrow any snippet of poetry. Everything is beautiful in its time, from the hour when the stars of the morning chime to the sunset glow, when the vesper ray shoots through the veil of the closing day. In the heavens above, on the earth below, in the forests murmur, the rivers flow. Through every season and every clime, all things are beautiful in their time. So I'm not sure that Mathew didn't use all of this. Let's see which portion he used. Sorry, because I don't want to read the whole poem. Let's see here. This is a pretty long poem. I don't want to read it all. Here it is. Here's the part that Mathew used. Oh, not in the outward world alone may the beautiful be to the soul made known. In its own far depths, in its inner life, silent and pure is this spirit rife. Seen in the love that is still the same in the captive's dungeon, the martyr's flame, as it is in the hour of joy and light, when life is unclouded and hope is bright. Seen in the mercy, gentle and nigh to the destitute's moan, the sufferer's sigh, in the tear of repentance, the widow's might, the truth that is firm to the good and right, in meekness, forgiveness, humility, prayer, in hope that can suffer, in faith that can bear, in deeds and in motives untold by the tongue, by chisel uncarved, by poet unsung, in orbs like yon bright ones that silently roll, the beautiful lives in the depths of the soul. Now, Mathew would have loved this because it ends talking about stars, which was a tribute to Abby. Anytime Mathew's writing a tribute to Abby, because she loved the stars so much, he would slip in a reference to the stars. But strangely enough, that line is not in the one that he wrote here, so I don't know why that would be. But what I thought I'd do, that's Mathew's contribution, but let's read some of the other ones, because it's just fascinating to me to see what people would write back then. I mean, these were educated people. And they, here's Mathew's right here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll put it up fairly close. But these were no dumb bunnies, and it's just fascinating. Okay, here's somebody that writes of Ruth and Naomi. This is Sarah, and she's from Haverhill, which is Mathew's hometown, and she writes on July 26th, 1847. And it's best, she has pretty good handwriting. I should be able to read it. I apologize for my stumbling delivery. I'm a pretty good reader. I think Abby taught Mathew how to read aloud, so I'm a pretty good reader, but I can't always make out some of these things. Where'er thou goest, I will go with thee. Where'er thou dwellest, that dwelling shall be mine. The friends that love thee shall be loved by me, and those shall be my kindred that are thine. Where'er thy prayers are offered, let's see, oh my gosh, I will pour my bosom's prayer while kneeling at their side. Thy God shall be my God, as I adore whate'er thou dost, in heaven or earth beside. Where'er land something, then thou diest, I will die. No, where'er and when thou diest, I will die. Thou shalt not suffer pain or death alone. Thy shall be my grave, and we shall lie together, wrapped beneath the silent tomb. Sarah. So I guess she wrote that, which is really quite beautiful. And this is amazing. These people, can write. Some of these are a little bit, maybe exaggerated. I don't know that there were such good friends that Sarah would actually die to be in the tomb with her, but, this is a Victorian era, and they're a little overblown. Let's see. Maybe I'm feeling like maybe I won't read that one. These have these beautiful little illustrations. Like I said, I think this was pretty high class because periodically you see places to write that have color illustrations with, and this is 1850. So, I'm thinking that color illustrations were not easily come by. Okay, this one says Broadway. Boardman. It's either Boardman or I guess it's Boardman. So this is in Bradford, which is across the river, I think, from April, August 6th, 1847. This is a little tougher to read. See if I can do it. Excuse me. To me, of rude, unpolished mind, to think, to gem your album fair, 'twere harder than for Raphael to paint the dewdrop or the air. Yet would I ask, when you are where I'm not, give me, your faithful friend, one something thought. I can't read this. One Paul, no, it's not, it's something ing, something in thought. When parting sunbeams faintly play and lingering gild the peaceful main, when evening shadows veil the day, and hushed is all of nature's train, when night's deep something broods o'er the humblest cot, in that calm hour give me one passing thought. It's a little on the sappy side there. And who knows if these people prepared these things ahead of time for albums, or I think they had them kind of in their hip pocket. Now this is a Kimball. I think this might have belonged to a Kimball. There's a big branch of the Kimball family in Haverhill. They still have a farm out there. You can look that up. So I think this was a Kimball relative. So this is one of the Kimballs, and they write, lost, with exclamation marks, lost, lost, lost. I feel all search is vain. List something, you of countless cost can ne'er be mine again. And it goes on like that. I won't read all of each one. Let's do one or two more, and then we'll close this up. Let's see, this one's easy enough to read. This is, I think it says MPL or MPY from Bradford, November 4th, 18... I can't read that date. It's 1841 or something like that, or 51. I can't read it. So this person says, where friendship full exerts her softest power, perfect esteem enlivened by desire, ineffable and sympathy of soul, thought meeting thought, and will presenting will, with boundless confidence, for naught but love can answer love and render bliss secure. So that's what that person wrote. I'm thinking this is a woman that they're writing to. It's just an impression. Oh boy, this one's hard to read. This is very Victorian. You know, Victorians were really preoccupied with death because there was a lot of death going around. So this person says, "Oh, dismay, thou only are something of the dead." I can't read it. "Those only treasures of the vanished past, or past. How welcome art thou when light hope is FE something, and sorrow mantle o'er the soul is sad," maybe? I don't know. It's tough. This old handwriting is tough to make out. So that gives you an idea what the album is like. Matthew's is, there's Matthew's. It's so faint, it's really tough to read. And here's some handwriting. Boy, oh boy. "Some I remember and will ne'er forget, my early friends, friends of my something day, friends in my mirth, friends in my misery too, friends given by God in mercy and in love. My counsel something, my comforted counselors, my comforters and guides, my joy in grief, my second bliss in joy. These I remember and would their names record. But what avails my mention of this, of their names? Before the throne they stand illustrious among the loudest harps, and will receive their glad, my friend, and there for all are given in heaven, all faithful friends, and many friendships in the days of time begun are lasting hour and growing still. So grow and," I can't read that word, "unison, both theirs and mine. Yours affectionately, M.L.H. in Bradford, October 9, 1847. So that's just a couple of the things that I held in my hand in a past life, a completely different body, different set of eyes, different hands, everything different, even different personality, and yet this is me, you know, still. I still feel it. It's like picking up something that's got a static charge on it, you know, deep in my subconscious mind. I look at, and when I was looking at this the other day, I realized how calligraphy is done, because there's a downstroke and then an upstroke that goes next to it. And this is not his regular handwriting style, just his calligraphy style that he learned. Here's a D, downstroke and second stroke. So it's like, and here's a P, same downstroke more or less, second stroke, you know, and that just came to me. And I was looking, I said, oh, that's how that was done. You know, I was trying to, there's an I, same thing, downstroke and another upstroke. But that was not his regular signature. That was just the calligraphy that he learned from someone. So I have a ton of things in here, you know, and in the other cabinet and so on that I'd love to share. And again, depending on how many people watch this blog and how interested they are in it, I'll go ahead and share more. So again, thanks for watching.